Sam, how's the view on your monitor?
Looking good. The scenery's a little bland, though.
Oof. Hey everyone. Today's video is going to be a different format. Instead of focusing on one particular title like I normally do in my Thinking Bat videos, this video is more of a supplement to a Thinking Bat video that I plan to release alongside it. The purpose of this video is to flesh out some of the ideas that I may leave underdeveloped in the main video, as well as shift the focus onto the games featured in this video so that the game featured in the main video doesn't get lost in the discussion. We're not fully thinking about Binary Domain or Vanquish here, they're just passing thoughts. Way back when I used to write reviews of the games I wanted to cover, I had said that Binary Domain and Vanquish should be played back to back to provide a more or less comprehensive picture of the Japanese approach towards cover shooters.
Hey Marshall, welcome to Japan, brother. That's my welcome? Your ugly ass? Huh. Where's all my dancing geisha girls? You ain't seen what I'm wearing under this wetsuit. Is it lace?
What's interesting is that the third-person shooters of last generation owe their design to the Japanese, namely Capcom. Resident Evil 4 introduced a new type of third-person camera that was drawn close to the player, so that the limited field of view added tension and justified the player character to the left of the screen so that it wouldn't occlude the player's view. 1 year later, Epic Games modified RE4's camera so that it was slightly pulled back, but still maintained that tight field of view to retain tension in its action. Gears codified the visual language and control scheme of third-person cover shooters, and its influence is still evident in our current generation. Directional buttons mapped to weapon slots, right bumper mapped to reload and related secondary actions, a dedicated cover button that was also used to navigate around obstacles, a melee attack tempered by cooldown, and slow walking segments to allow for exposition while the game loaded the rest of the level in the background. Gears combat was slow, methodical, and dependent on teamwork, either artificially or ideally with another player. Around that time, Japanese developers were looking into new ways to break into the Western market. Some companies farmed out its well-established IPs to Western developers, in the hopes that their Western sensibilities would lead to more sales.
Not in a million years.
Other companies tried their hands at the Western-dominated genre of third-person cover shooters. That was Sega's method. It's interesting that Sega published both Binary Domain and Vanquish within a 2-year period. Both games are third-person cover shooters. Both games feature American protagonists fighting hordes of robotic enemies. And both games feature a Japanese interpretation of American bravado in pop culture.
You know, it's funny, but my briefing said this was to be a covert operation. Come on.
What can I say? I like to make an entrance.
Come on, you ain't wanna live forever!
When I say that these games shed some light into how the Japanese view Americans, I don't mean that in a shitty, hot-take political kind of way. It feels more like an exaggeration of American stereotypes. We're bold, brash, and braggadocious.
Hey! You alright? Huh? Anything broken? Just my inner peace. Let's keep moving.
What the fuck, man? You're not allowed to smoke on the ship.
Imagine being a character in a Michael Bay film. That's how Americans come off in these games. It's great, really. Kinda sarcastic, kind of campy. It's endearing. Let's compare both games' leads. Binary Domain's Dan Marshall is a likable douchebag. He initially comes off callous and way too good at putting his foot in his mouth whenever he talks.
You should find a new line of work for these kids. Seems like most of them have forgotten how to smile.
Like any of us has a choice. Look around you, Yankee man. No future!
Hey, watch this. Excuse me. Hi, I'm Dan. Ah, the strong and silent type, huh? I like that in a woman. So, this is all China sent, huh? Just one woman?
I am First Lieutenant Fei Li of the People's Liberation Army. My two subordinates were killed by security robots on the way here.
Oof. But by the end of the game, he still comes off as a likable guy, in spite of being a meathead.
Your order, please.
One of my regulars did a number on him.
You gonna fix him?
What's the point? He'll get bashed in again.
Nice to know you're appreciated, huh?
Vanquish's Sam Gideon is more of a likable asshole. He acts like he's too cool for everything.
A little warmer reception than I was hoping for.
But it's clear early on that it's all a front, and that he really does value human life a lot more than the military fighting alongside him.
Burns, look. Americans trying to lure us. I know that. You want me to sacrifice an entire unit to help 3 men? No, me do it. You just keep your eyes off my ass.
On their faces, Binary Domain and Vanquish look like they've done their homework when it comes to adopting Gears of War's design. Both games have directional buttons mapped to weapon slots, right bumper mapped to reload and related secondary actions, dedicated cover buttons that also serve to navigate around obstacles, melee attacks tempered either by cooldown or with animation lag, and slow walking segments to allow for exposition while the games load the rest of their levels in the background. BD hews closer to Gears than Vanquish. It's a little faster in pace, and getting into and out of sprint is slightly faster than roadie running in Gears. It even has a focus button dedicated to points of interest like Gears.
Some things never change.
Binary Domain distinguishes itself from the competition and from Gears with its emphasis on squad interaction. Dan can select 2 members of Rust Crew to join his squad, and their bonds with Dan depend on his performance in combat, as well as the choices he makes to answer their questions. This can be done either by pressing buttons or using the speech command system that BD proudly displays in the opening titles. The game recognizes a set database of commands and responses, and these will affect how your squad members feel about Dan. The goal is to max out every bond before the game finishes to unlock the true harem ending.
What's this about? I don't get you, man. Shit, knew it. Okay, fun stuff now. Try yelling, "Charge!" at the top of your voice.
Charge. Charge. Charge.
Come on, I want to charge in. Okay, fun stuff now. Try yelling, "Charge!" at the top of your voice.
Charge. Charge. Charge.
Wow, never have thought of that. On it. Philip said the guy's ex-MI6. A real agent, not some pencil pusher. So watch your back, all right?
Yes.
What?
Come on, man, stay focused.
The draw to BD's combat is the feedback that results from attacking enemies. You can dismember their arms to drop their guns, or dismember their legs so that they'll have to crawl around. If you land a headshot, their IFFs no longer work, and headless robots will just attack their former comrades.
Damn, I'll distract the enemy with the decoy while you unload on it. Got it?
Yes!
Never mind.
Vanquish's enemies also have feedback, but they don't have those kinds of responses to injury. They'll just try to kamikaze Sam. Vanquish feels like a response to Gears and the genre of shooters it established. Its levels and enemy placement are designed to resemble the kinds of combat encounters that someone who is well versed in cover shooters would find familiar. However, the game hints to the player very early on not to play Vanquish like any other cover shooter.
Yeah. If you go there, you should be able to flank the enemy from behind.
The first fight of the game ushers the player to a tunnel next to where the enemies are hunkered down and teaches the player to look for opportunities to attack enemies from behind while they're distracted with marine cannon fodder. There are several arenas in the early parts of the game that call back to set pieces from Gears, with a subtle suggestion to not play the game as a Gears. Unfortunately, Platinum was too subtle with its suggestion, because Vanquish was still regarded as a lackluster cover shooter back in the day, when in reality, it's a character action game with guns. If you're playing Vanquish for the plot, then who lied to you? The plot is as deep as it needs to be. It's not vapid, and I remember hardcore gaming criticizing the game for its threadbare politics, but let's be real. No one's playing Vanquish for the speculative political fiction it postulates. It's a good action game, and a lot of the themes that it glanced at actually get fleshed out in Metal Gear Rising, of all places. Definitely play Vanquish alongside MGR if you can. Binary Domain's plot is a lot more ambitious, and I like it overall, but there's a ton of plot holes in the story. The whole premise of BD is, what if Blade Runner replicants were Terminators, but not like Snatcher? There's attempts at questioning the nature of identity and the worth of artificial life, but the themes don't really gel together as well as they could. There's a setup that one of the Rust crew members may not be human, but the things that call that into question get dismissed so flippantly by the characters. I can't tell if the story is trying to be coy and subvert my expectations, or if that plot thread was cut from release. Having said that, there are still some cute exchanges in the dialogue with certain characters. Mostly Bout.
Ni hao.
Oh! Do me a favor and use the back door. You people don't exactly blend in around here.
Thanks, brother.
Like, that has to be intentional, right? Having the only black guy in the squad respond like what the bartender said was a microaggression. These games are great and worth playing. Like I said before, both are on Steam, and Vanquish got ported to PS4 with Bayonetta because those two titles have become Platinum's answer to Resident Evil 4 as those games that will be ported to every subsequent platform forever, alongside Skyrim.